Breaking news, Zahar Baker's stepmom, Elisa, is dragged out of jail and taken to the latest site where investigators are furiously searching for the child's body. HLN affiliate WSOC reports cops are following up on a, quote, promising lead in an area less than a mile from where person of interest slash stepmom, Elisa, you're looking at her right there in pink, lived 3 years ago. Elisa Baker is reportedly inside a red SUV that's about to appear on your screen in new video that has just come in. So look for a red SUV. It's coming up. Meantime, Zahar Baker's father has just been busted on a slew of charges, arrested and thrown in jail. Adam Baker faces 8 different counts, including assault with a deadly weapon and 5 counts of writing bad checks. Now, those charges are not officially connected to his 10-year-old disabled daughter's presumed death. But it is not just a coincidence, I don't think, that he's arrested after investigators do an exhaustive search of a landfill and come up empty-handed. Do they think Zahara's dad knows a lot more than he is saying? Are they putting pressure on him to spill his guts about exactly what happened to his child, who witnesses claim was abused by his wife? Zahara's allegedly abusive stepmom, Elisa, is locked up for what cops say is a stunt directly related to Zahara's disappearance. Elisa, there she is again, was arrested after cops say she admitted writing a bogus ransom note that was found the very day this couple reported the child missing to 911.
The police were out here last night. They were firing a ransom note for my boss's daughter. I got up a little while ago, and it appears they took my daughter instead of my boss's daughter. We had an officer out here last night, and he ran through who he thought it may have been, like an ex-employee or something.
So many fast-breaking developments now just coming into issues. Cops are saying that the dad, Adam Baker, asked police to notify the Australian consulate in Atlanta about his arrest. He's originally Australian. Is he trying to turn this into some kind of international incident? What do you think of all these latest developments in this horrific story about a disabled child in peril? Call me, 1-877-JVM says, 1-877-586-7297. Straight out to Tara Servatius, host of the Tara Servatius Show on WBT Radio out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Tara, what is the very latest?
Well, Jane, you wrapped it up. Adam Baker has now been arrested. Here's the thing, Jane. These are new charges. This isn't from yesterday. I told you in the beginning, our sources were telling us they would leave Adam Baker out of jail while he was still useful to them. And when he was no longer useful, he'd be heading to jail. And that's where he's going. They didn't find what they needed at the landfill. And now you're seeing Elisa Baker being paraded around. She's at a new site they're searching. They've got promising leads. It looks to me like they're done with Adam Baker. They put him in the jail. And now, heck, playing them against each other. Now it's Lisa Baker that they're driving around.
Yeah, and I have to wonder if they also thought this dad might have been a flight risk. If they're on the verge of a break in this case, and they figure we've got to have him locked up behind bars because he could disappear, Mike Brooks.
No, I guarantee you that they had him, as we say, in pocket the whole time, Jane, finding out who he talked to, where he was going, who he was seeing. No, they had it all the whole time he was out. But the bottom line is they had paper on him all along, very similar type charges that they're holding her on. He's not cooperating with the police anymore. Why not lock him up? Try to put a little bit of pressure on him, if any, and find out if he talks. And who is coming forward possibly to make the best deal? Who knows what the real information is? And why do they have her out there? Where did the information originally come about this site from where she lived 3 years ago? Was it from her? Is she out there to say, well, this used to be here, that used to be there? And who knows what else you might know?
And I think it's interesting, they're searching an area where she lived 3 years ago. They just moved to the new family home from which the child disappeared just over a month ago. So they don't know that area as well. If they wanted to hide something, they would go back to an area that they knew a lot better to hide something. So it makes sense. 2 days after little Zahara disappeared, her father went on ABC, and he was asked if he thinks his wife, that woman right there, could be responsible for his daughter's disappearance. Listen.
I wouldn't like to think so, but going off what I've heard so far, it could be possible. I didn't talk to her very much when I called the police. I think just about every officer in Hickory came to the house. And I haven't really seen my wife since then. I just hope I can get my daughter back. I miss her so much.
Oh, he sounds just like Mel Gibson. Is he also acting by saying that he basically, did he implicate his wife just then? You know, did he say, I don't know if she did it, and did she respond in kind by implicating him back? Could that be the reason he was just arrested on unrelated charges? You know, Stacey Honowitz, if they're taking Elisa down to the search site, taking her out of jail and down to the search site, could that indicate that she's now talking about what really happened with this child? And could she also be implicating him in the process, trying to lessen her role?
Well, absolutely, that's probably what's going on. I mean, we can speculate till the cows come home, Jane, but the bottom line is when you heard him call the police, he certainly didn't sound like a frantic father looking for his daughter. You know, I think the ransom note was for somebody else, as calm and as cool as a cucumber. And now that she's out and she's in custody with these police and taking them to a certain place, there might be a time where they're pitting each other against each other. She's got information. Maybe she is trying to implicate him. Maybe he did know more than he originally led on to. And these are where breaks in the case come about. When people are incarcerated, pressure is put on them to speak. And in this case, I think that's probably what's happening. That's where these leads, these promises
and you
are
know
coming from the players themselves.
What strikes me, Tara Field's family therapist, they are both accused of writing bad checks. So if they're in on that together, writing bad checks, that's not a coincidence. That means they do bad things together. So could they have done something bad together with this child, Tara?
Yeah, absolutely. And the other issue...
Go ahead, Tara.
The other issue...
Oh, sure.
Fields?
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's got assault charges against him too. I mean, this is the first we've heard of violence.
I know the problem. We got two Taras here. Okay, I was directing that question to Tara Field's family therapist. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things to keep in mind is these are two people who have no impulse control. You know, they may have not planned a lot of things. They were passing checks. The next thing they know, maybe they're on drugs, maybe they're angry, maybe they have this harebrained scheme where let's just get rid of our child. Who knows? The bottom line is these are sociopaths. These are people that have no impulse control, and they're dangerous.
Now, let's go back to Tara Servatius, because Tara Fields, the family therapist, mentioned maybe there's drugs involved. Again, what do you know about this stepmom and drugs? Spell it out for us.
Well, we had that big break in the case when the daughter, or the daughter of the husband, the wife of the husband of, it's a long story, was buying drugs from Elisa Baker. Are you going to tell me that the husband didn't know this, that he wasn't involved in any of the violent incidents that she was involved in? I mean, she was charged. The family turned her in. I mean, he knew about all this. He absolutely did. So, you know, like we said from the beginning, this guy was headed for arrest as soon as he was of no further use. And one more thing quickly, Jane, you know that Elisa Baker just got a new whiz-bang attorney. She is a specialist in capital cases. And now, all of a sudden, this was over the weekend. She's got a promising
There's
lead,
the car, by the way. There's the red SUV that they think Elisa is in as she is taken down to what could be a crime scene. Everybody stay right where you are. We're taking your calls, 1-877-JBM says. But first...